let's speak about Workhorse, baby. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor. I got the clothing line to prove that fact. And today we are going to speak about the one, the only Workhorse, baby. As I'm recording this, they're at 1264 in pre-market trading. A long fall from grace from the 40s that we were all so excited to hit. Now, the reason I'm making this video today is because of this, okay? It is currently the 3rd. On the 10th of May, their first quarter 2021 earnings call will be going down. And anybody who's followed Workhorse's journey knows that this is an earnings that has been being hyped up for the better part of 4 or 5 months at this stage. The last time we had Steve on the channel, the CFO of the company, we spoke about this. He essentially told us that last quarter earnings weren't going to be very good, and they weren't. But he also told us that they were focused on this right here, the first quarter earnings call. So we'll get into that shortly. What I also want to do is just go through what institutions have been doing very briefly. 2 8Ks that came out, which are very, very interesting. A short article here speaking about the fact that Workhorse is now good value. When people look at Workhorse, they don't generally see a value stock. We'll have a quick look at the broader chart, see some levels that we should potentially be looking for this week coming up to earnings and next week post earnings. And just at the very end of it, I want to speak about this. The Senate panel approves Biden nominees to Postal Service Board. Now, this did happen just less than a week ago, but interesting nonetheless, especially with all the drama, let's say, that's going on between the USPS contract, Workhorse, Oshkosh, etc. So my friends, right before we do get into today's video, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button for your boy for a Workhorse video? Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're doing with your Workhorse right now. And please, my friend, if you are indeed new around here, hit that juicy red subscribe button for more juicy videos. It's a Monday. I'm feeling motivated, baby. We're going to get back to killing the game. If you are interested in joining my private Discord group, that is the first link in the description. And if you'd like 2 free stocks on Webull, all you got to do is hit the second link in the description, sign up, deposit $100, get yourself some free cash. So why is this particular earnings call so important for investors? Well, we expect it to be considerably better, let's be honest, than our last few earnings calls. Now, why do we believe this? Well, largely due to the fact that the chief financial officer of the company, Steve Schrader, told us that this is the earnings that they were looking towards. This is the earnings that they were working towards. And hopefully the first earnings that, is going to fill investors with, a good feeling as opposed to a relatively poor feeling over the last couple. I think it's difficult to say what we should expect from this earnings call. There's been some big bombs dropped. I think it was Q3 last year was when we found out about a few important things, namely being some new orders, etc., etc. Maybe we will find out that there's a new contract on the way. There's a new big name on our side. Maybe we'll get an update to do with the horsefly, and I'll get into why shortly. But what we are most certainly going to get is people wondering, where are the deliveries? Okay, are these being built as we have been told they will be by now? And ultimately, are they being delivered? Because apparently we have this very large backlog, and we need to start delivering these vehicles. There's only so long that investors are going to be willing to, wait. There's only so long that we're going to wait to see some real progress, especially when we've already expected a lot of that progress to really happen. And it's for that reason that I think this earnings will lead to some volatility, hopefully in the upwards direction, but I will show you where it could potentially go in the downwards direction if we don't get some news that we want, if we don't see the deliveries going up, because that ultimately is what Workhorse investors need to see right now. It's not really negotiable. Because the thing is, if management comes out and now says, we're looking for a better second quarter, a better third quarter, I mean, it's easy to do that every single quarter, but we really want to see these things being hit. And for that reason, I think if things are looking very good this quarter, Workhorse stock should be able to start going back up quite quickly. Now, I find this quite interesting. We look at institutional ownership changes here, the 13 F filings for Workhorse Group. Look at Q4. I mean, there was an awful lot of buying. Q1, there was buying. Q2, there has been buying. Very little selling. So when you look at what the institutions are doing, an awful lot of them are still buying. You can clearly see, just look at the green rectangles. There's a lot more buyers than sellers. ARK Invest obviously being one that everybody always wants to speak about when it does come to Workhorse, and yes, they have been buying, and they also added them to the ARKX, which I don't know, maybe it's to do with the horsefly, but anyway, they're in there. But that's just one thing to notice right off the bat is, institutions are buying. There's not as much money being poured in, but you get the picture. There's also been a very common theme with Workhorse that, there's been a lot of insider selling happening. I mean, look at this, a lot. Not really so far this quarter. Now, these things are obviously predetermined, but I still think this is something that people will be happy to see. But again, if it comes out over the next few days that a large amount of shares are sold off, I think that will affect the stock's price, because it could, to an extent, show that there isn't a lot of confidence in what Q1 brings. On the other hand, the fact that there hasn't been sales, even predetermined, whatever, It could show confidence. Now, there has recently been two 8Ks come out. This one's from April 22nd. And they appointed Ryan Gall as president of commercial trucks. And he will be responsible for the company's commercial vehicle division, including the company's manufacturing location in Union City. He will receive a base salary of $300,000 per year. Nice salary. But he will also be eligible to receive a target performance bonus commencing the calendar year ending December 31st, 2021. So essentially starting next year. Equal to 50% of his base salary, with the potential to increase to 75% of his base salary, assuming predetermined performance goals are met as determined by the compensation committee, as well as a sign-on bonus of $25,000. I think the main thing to be taken away from this is, the performance bonuses, which I personally am happy to see. It's a huge incentive for people who are high up in the company to get production out there, especially when we look at the title of, our commercial trucks. You want that guy to be motivated. You want him to sell every truck possible, because that's only going to do great things for Workhorse, which means it's going to do great things for us investors. And then 2 days prior to that, April 20th, they employed John Graber as president of aerospace. So think horsefly drones. And again, if you've been around on this channel for a long time, you know that a large part, in my opinion, of the long-term vision for Workhorse lies in these drones. A large portion of the value proposition, in my opinion, again, is in these drones. They have very important patents. People are going to want those patents. A lot of people want to use Workhorse drones. And it's a very similar story to the prior new employment, okay? He'll receive a base salary of $300,000 per year. And as of the start of next year, they can get bonuses equal to 50%, up to 75%, and a sign-on bonus of $100,000. So, I mean, two things of note. Obviously, there are two new presidents taken on for two extraordinarily important parts of Workhorse's overall business. But they are also being incentivized to, get the absolute most out of this company, which we really, really love to see. And the next up was this. It just caught my eye, okay? Workhorse Group stock is a good value despite losing the postal contract. So as someone who covered Workhorse for a long time, it was never really a value stock. Maybe to the guys who were getting in sub $3, yes, and a lot has changed since then. Analysts expect revenue this year will exceed $110 million. In 2022, they foresee $282 million in revenue. That puts Workhorse stock on a reasonable forward price to sales multiple of just 5.78 times revenue for 2022. That is not a high number whatsoever. But again, it's important to remember that these are all working off of estimations and expectations. There is no guarantees here whatsoever. And that is something that comes with investing in these, pre-revenue or very new to revenue related companies. Even if they do have a nice backlog, they do have nice factories, etc., you're always going to be taking added risks as opposed to investing in somebody who is already well established. But I did find that particular point quite interesting. After this huge dip, the value actually makes a little bit of sense. And also April 16th, just to show you guys, B. Riley analyst Christopher Souther launched coverage on Workhorse Group with a buy rating and a $20 price target. And I think when you look at a lot of other analysts, when you look at the likes of ARK Invest adding Workhorse into the ARKX, you really do begin to see that people are investing in this company for more than one reason, for more than just the delivery truck. Now, this analyst does specifically say that they believe the first mover advantage here is very important. Take that alongside what ARK Invest is essentially telling us that they're investing largely in the horsefly drone. You see that there are these two very important components hopefully coming together sometime soon. But I think it is interesting to see that analysts, after all is said and done with the USPS contract, are initiating buy ratings with a very large upside as well. Now, when we look at the chart, I mean, we've been looking at this chart for so long. We know this chart off by heart nearly. I remember all of these days. This is the gut-wrenching day that I don't think I will ever forget. This candlestick will be engraved in my mind for the rest of my life. But you can see since then, it's been up and down, but it has, let's be honest, been a little bit of a steady downtrend. The one thing I'd like to point out, we go all the way back in time. Oh, all the way back to here. Look, there's a gap created all the way back last June. Okay, that gap starts at about 10.32 a share. And if I zoom in, you will see that we have not hit that. The lowest we got was at about 11.38. So the reason I'm looking back towards there is oftentimes gaps do get filled. And basically, if the first quarter earnings report isn't good, if it's not what investors want to see, I think that is a quite obvious price point to start looking towards for a potential entry or just to keep an eye out for. You will see right now, neither the MACD nor the RSI is really telling us much. Everything's pretty neutral. There's been a pretty considerable period of consolidation going on. I think this earnings is going to be what shakes things up a little bit. Now, aside from that, there's not really any, strong areas of resistance being created lately. You can see I have one marked out here at 15, but that's a big stretch. The next one we would have is right here at about 19.20. And then before that, we really have to go back to some very long-term prominent areas of resistance. I think if Workhorse can just break back above 15, that's going to be a nice base for them to be able to find for themselves. And again, if Q1 goes particularly well, I think that is a very real possibility. At this stage, it's a matter of waiting. Do I think it's going to go well? I honestly really hope so. We haven't gotten too many updates over the last couple of months in regards to things like this. That's the only thing that would personally worry me a little bit. But at the end of the day, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. If there's anything we can take solace in, it's the fact that there's a little gap created here at $30 a share. But no, in reality, of course, I will be tuning into the earnings report. Maybe we will go live on YouTube for it. You guys like when we do that sometimes. And ultimately, long term, I still believe they have the potential to do absolutely fantastic things as a company. But anyway, my friends, that is my update video on Workhorse. Hopefully you were able to take some sort of value out of this. I know there's a few different things going on as of right now. If you watched this video all the way till the end, I would just like to tell you that you, my friend, are a true legend, and I truly appreciate you being here from the bottom of my heart. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed the video, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button? Perhaps drop me a little comment down below, and please, my friend, subscribe if you're new around here. If you are interested in joining that private Discord group, that is the first link in the description. And if you like some free stocks, that's the second link. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a beautiful, blessed day. I hope life is treating you well. I will see you for another video very soon. Peace.